Hey everybody, Ben in Beta, and today I am doing my long-term review of the 2023 Hyundai Tucson we bought about a year ago. So we have a little bit over 13,000 miles, almost 14,000 miles on this vehicle. We've taken several thousand plus mile trips in this vehicle. So I think I have a pretty good idea of what I like and what I don't like about the vehicle. We've also used it for overlanding. So just wanted to get into a little bit about like what's great and what's not about this 2023 Hyundai Tucson. So first, a few things that I like about the vehicle. It's pretty comfortable, and as I've said, we've taken several trips that were over 1,000 miles. They were basically 1,300 mile trips one way, back and forth between Colorado and California. And right now I'm headed back to Wisconsin, which is another 1,100 mile journey. And this car is very comfortable for those types of trips. I'd have to say that's maybe not as comfortable as the Tesla was when we took those trips, but it's still pretty comfortable, and it's very comparable to what the Santa Fe was when we had that. The next thing I'd say I really like about the vehicle is the tech. Everything in here is well done. The screen is very large. It's easy to read. It's easy to use. I like the driver display being completely digital, so you can customize all that. So that works really well too. And it was part of the reason why we decided to go with this vehicle. Next, I would say the Hyundai Tucson has some pretty cool styling, especially in the front grille and the back. So overall, really well styled, looks pretty good. We also went with a Tucson to get some extra space. While the Model 3 that we had before this had a lot of space in many nooks and crannies, you couldn't get certain items into that vehicle. Like one time we tried to get some chairs for our house and we couldn't fit them in the car in any way, shape, or form. We've also used the Tucson to move, so there's quite a bit of space. And you can even see that Rue has her nice spot back there to lay, which she definitely enjoys in our long trips. Another thing I really like about the Tucson is its driver assistance tech. It works very well. Lane centering specifically is very good. It's not overly nanny-ish. You can kind of control yourself in the lane, which is nice. And unlike the Tesla, it re-engages automatically when I go back into my other lane, which is something that I really disliked about how Tesla has decided to implement that system. As far as adaptive cruise, that works very well too, and it works in stop and go traffic. And it even goes a little step further and does some sort of light steering in specific situations. Those are kind of the two things that I use the most often, and they work great, especially for long trips. So I really appreciate those features. Another great feature of the Hyundai Tucson is the 360-degree cameras. They work very well, and it's super easy to see everything around you and to be able to get into parking spots. And we've used it for overlanding too, and definitely for a vehicle that has a little bit less capability and ground clearance than maybe some other vehicles you might use for overlanding. It was really helpful to get into some pretty cool campsites. It's also really helpful when I'm overlanding by myself, just to make sure that I'm putting my tires in the right spot and reducing the risk to blow a tire out. Another thing I like is the handling of the vehicle is quite good, both on-road and off-road. I've been pretty impressed with its ability to be able to do some overlanding, and that's been super cool. Another thing I really like is the fact that the Tucson Limited has a lot of cool creature features for the price. So you're going to get things like heated steering wheel, you're going to get heated and cooled seats. So that's awesome. Power seats are pretty good too, but I do wish that they were four-way adjustable, so they would go up, down, in and out instead of just in and out. That would make it a little bit more comfortable on different people's backs of different sizes. I mentioned that I like the capability of the vehicle. The H-Track all-wheel drive system in here is very good. There's even a locking center differential button for when you are going off-road. Most people who own a Tucson are probably never going to take it more than on a dirt road. I've definitely taken it further than most people ever would. And it's gone everywhere I needed it to so far. I have not gotten stuck. I haven't blown any tires. Knock on wood if I had any here. But it's been a good experience so far. It's also been big enough that we can sleep in the back. So that cargo capacity was a big deal. And it was something that we wanted when we upgraded from the Tesla, so that we could go camping at the time. That's all we had known about. We didn't know overlanding was actually a thing. So we wanted to be able to camp in our vehicle at campsites and things like that. We then found out about overlanding a couple months later, and now we're kind of headed towards that direction. I've stayed in my vehicle several times. It's been pretty comfortable. I do wish that the seats would lay completely flat in the back. That would be helpful because you then have to park your vehicle at sort of an angle to make your bed flat. So I want to talk about a few things that are mixed bag with this vehicle. One of those is gas mileage. I've been averaging about 26 miles per gallon over all the driving that I've done, which is mostly highway miles, and a lot of it's mountain travel, so that's harder, and we do live at elevation, so it's not going to be as good. But oftentimes in town around Colorado Springs, I'm only getting like 22 miles per gallon, 23. It gets much better on the freeway. For example, I'm heading out of Colorado into Nebraska right now, and we do have a pretty good tailwind, but I'm getting like 32.5 miles per gallon at the moment. So that's pretty good. But in general driving, it's just okay. Another thing that's sort of a mixed bag is while the infotainment center is great, it's really easy to see, it's very crystal clear. I don't love that I have to plug in my phone for Android Auto CarPlay. There's supposed to be an update coming to fix that. But for a top trim vehicle, it feels like you should definitely have had wireless Android Auto or CarPlay. Apparently the reason that we didn't get this was that Hyundai was having a dispute with either Apple or Google over in the navigation unit. So the top trim levels have navigation. What happens when you press the nav button and whose navigation should you see? And apparently that's now been worked out. And the update's been going out to the European models, but it hasn't quite reached the US yet. So while I love the screen, it would be really nice if it actually were wireless, just because it's easier. There is a Qi charger in here, but I never use it because I have to plug in my phone. Another thing that's kind of a mixed bag is the digital key system. You can use your phone as a key, but the problem is you have to take your phone out and you have to stick it against the door. It doesn't always work. And then when you get in your car, you have to stick it on the Qi charger in order for it to recognize that you have your digital key. That doesn't work a lot of the times either. So basically I just carry my key with me, and that's fine. But coming from a Tesla where my phone was my key, that was pretty nice. The app is fine. You can remote start your car, all those types of things. That works just fine. But the digital key piece just is okay. Now I'd like to talk about a few things that I maybe don't like about this vehicle. One of those is the engine and transmission. So a couple of issues. One, oftentimes if I really need to get going, say I'm crossing a busy street, something like that, if I hit the gas, it doesn't always go immediately. It kind of thinks for a few seconds and then takes off. And then that means you can maybe sometimes miss your chance to get out, or you could cause an accident as well. So I don't love that. And then also when you do need to, say, get out into a highway, that kind of thing, and you put the throttle down, it just doesn't go very well unless it's in sport mode. So you have to throw it in sport mode in order for it to respond kind of decently. Another thing about the engine transmission is it seems to work very hard when you're going through like mountain passes, that kind of thing. And I've even had twice when I've been going between Colorado and California over mountain passes where the engine has basically told me it was overheating and it cut power, but my engine temps were just fine. And it did that for a few seconds and then it just came back on and everything was fine again. It did that to me twice. It hasn't done it to me since then. I did take it into Hyundai to have a look at that, but they weren't able to find anything wrong with it. Another thing that I'm not impressed with and is unfortunate about the Tucson is that the roof rack limit is apparently only 165 pounds on the roof rails, while other vehicles have a higher rating. And normally 165 pounds wouldn't actually be that bad, but that's not a real high rating if you're trying to put a rooftop tent on or something like that. My understanding from Hyundai is that that is the dynamic and static weight, that the roof rails cannot take any more than 165 pounds. So putting a rooftop tent on top of this vehicle is apparently not something you should do. So if I'm wrong about that, please drop a comment in and let me know. And give me some data on where you got that from and what the numbers are. Maybe I'll do an update video on it. But as of right now, the rooftop tent thing's not going to work.
So one of the things I definitely do not like about this vehicle is this system for shifting. I often hit the neutral button when I'm trying to do either reverse or drive if I'm trying to go like into a parking spot or something like that. So I don't love this. I prefer a regular shifter or something on the column. It's not bad, it's fine, but don't love that.
So anyway, after about 14,000 miles, that's my review. This is a good vehicle. I would still recommend it to people. Get the hybrid if you can, but if you can't, not too bad. It's very comfortable, great trip car, and I think you would enjoy it if you're looking for something in this segment. It's also pretty good off-road, and you can camp inside if that's what you want to do with it. Let me know in the comments if you guys have the same vehicle, or if you've gone through the same process, or if you bought something different and why you did that. I'd be really interested to know. But thanks for watching. Remember to live your life in beta. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button for this video, and we'll see you next time. you.